Hello and welcome to the Astrology Forecast. My name is Sage. Here's your eye into the sky, letting you know what the cosmic events are for the week, why they matter, and how you can use this information in your everyday life. I hope everybody is enjoying your week. We are coming off the heels of the new moon in Aquarius, which means that we just began a brand new lunar cycle. Also, happy Chinese Lunar New Year. I actually don't really celebrate it, but it is the year of the dragon, which I think is pretty cool. So we are in the thick of Aquarius season, and just a reminder, we only have 1 week left until the end of Aquarius season, which means if you or a loved one is an Aquarius and you are looking for either a solar return chart reading or a birth chart reading, know that you have 1 week to secure that at a discounted price, 50% off for solar return readings and 30% off for birth chart readings. So very excited. I have already done a few really amazing readings for people that are Aquarius, and it's just a lot of insight to come out of these readings. If you are interested in just understanding more about what a solar return chart reading is or what a birth chart reading is, make sure you head to my Instagram and click on the link in my bio. It will give you a full description on every different type of reading that I offer, and you can easily book your reading there as well. Other announcements, I am co-hosting a stargazing retreat out in Utah this summer. I know a lot of you all have been very interested in this and you're looking to dive into the study of astrology. I will be doing a multi-day workshop course on the basics of astrology. So come ready to learn about your birth chart in depth. We'll be offering birth chart readings. We will be also actually able to witness the planets, the constellations in their full glory. We have dark sky night rangers coming with their professional telescopes. It is absolutely going to be a dream under the Utah sky, which, fun fact, Utah has some of the darkest skies in the United States. So it's a great space and a great area geographically to witness the universe in full force. So really excited about that. If you are interested in either booking a reading and or learning more about the Utah retreat, hit the link below and you can get a full description of everything there. And of course, register if you are interested in joining us this summer. The dates are July 31st through August 5th. And just a couple other points before we dive into the rest of this forecast. This is a heavy Aquarius week. So definitely encourage you to pause this video right now and go look at where you have Aquarius in your chart. I know I said this last week as we had the new moon in Aquarius. We had Mercury enter Aquarius last week. We have a buildup of Aquarius energy right now. So this is really important in knowing where Aquarius is in your chart, because this translates to your life, right? That's why we listen to these forecasts, because this information can be used in your everyday life to understand what's getting activated, what to pay attention to, and what to be aware of if and when circumstances do arise. So definitely make sure you check out where you have Aquarius. And again, if you're not sure, I do offer these personal readings as a resource for you to learn more about your chart for this exact reason. And last but not least, of course, if you have been coming to these videos weekly, I appreciate you. Please make sure, if you haven't already, that you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date. If you're tired of just watching me on Instagram posting about when the new forecast is uploaded and you just want to know yourself, hit the notification bell. That way you can be notified every single week when I upload the weekly forecast. And as always, if you did get value from this video, hit the like button, and of course, share your thoughts, your comments, any feedback you have, any experiences you have from what is being shared in these forecasts, and definitely make sure you comment. So let's dive right into all things this week. All right, so the first cosmic event of this week is happening on Tuesday, February 13th, and this is Mars entering into Aquarius. Now, Mars has been hanging out in Capricorn for the past month, and this has been really excellent for the beginning of 2024. Mars is the planet of goals, of taking action on your ideas, on your intentions, on success and ambition, and that drive and motivation we need to get to where we want to go. Mars rules over our physical energy, our sexual energy, our desires, our passions, and yes, also our aggressions. Mars is the planet that rules over heat, fire, any sort of disruption, any sort of explosion. Mars is, of course, the god of war. And so Mars being that fiery red planet, it literally is a red planet you can see when you look up in the sky. Mars does come with a large degree of emotional volatility, whether for good use, good fuel, or maybe also on the other side, Mars can be a bit extreme on the aggressive side. Now, Mars being into Aquarius is a bit of a shift going from Capricorn to Aquarius. Now, again, knowing your own birth chart is really helpful because you can also do a bit of reflection here. Consider what went well for you while Mars was in Capricorn, what might have felt, maybe stiff or more reserved or harder to push past, as of course, Capricorn is that more fixed earth sign. It's not a fixed sign, but it's that more solid, dense energy. And so sometimes that can come up as a bit of a roadblock. At the same time, Mars in Capricorn was great for setting goals. Now that those goals have been put into place, Mars enters into Aquarius, an air sign, a fixed air sign that's the symbol of the water bearer, the symbol of truth and truth seeking. And so Mars being in Aquarius is taking all of those goals, all of those intentions that Mars set while being in Capricorn, and it basically looks to expand on those goals. How can we think outside of the box? I always say Capricorn is the sign that builds the box, it's the sign of structure. But then when we move into Aquarius, we go to that next level where, okay, we have a box, but how can I make this a little bit different? How can I innovate this box? How can I step outside of this box to do something a bit more unique? And so that's what's happening to our goals as Mars enters into Aquarius. All of this Mars energy, this drive, this motivation, this determination gets expressed through the mental plane. The mental plane being that Aquarian intellect. Aquarius is known for its intelligence, it's known for its conversation and wanting to study and research and get down to the bottom of things. That's one reason why it's represented by the water bearer. Not only is the water bearer emptying out this stream of consciousness all over humanity, it's the sign of the humanitarian, but it also wants to get to the bottom of the pitcher so it can know what's at the bottom, right? It's still that truth seeker. It wants to get down to the heart of things and understand them. That's why Aquarius is really all about knowing the why behind something. So, Mars entering Aquarius, a couple of unique things are occurring when this happens. Again, this is happening on Tuesday, February 13th. Yes, this is the week of Valentine's Day. Whether or not you celebrate it, commercially speaking, I understand there's a lot of question marks around that. I certainly agree. However, I'm going to take any opportunity to celebrate love. And I know a lot of people listening do recognize Valentine's Day in whatever shape or form, whether it be with a partner, with yourself, with your girlfriends, with your guy friends, enjoying this, I guess you could call it tradition or holiday where people are feeling a little bit more expressive in who they love and how they love. Interestingly enough, I feel like Valentine's Day is not really well suited for Aquarius season. I've heard a lot of other astrologers say this. I echo the same sentiment. It does feel like Aquarius season being a bit more of a detached energy, a bit more cool, calm, collected, logical. It's not really the sign of passion and romance. Let's say more so Pisces would be that. So, petition to maybe reschedule Valentine's Day. But either way, knowing that Mars is entering Aquarius the day before Valentine's Day, I'm emphasizing this because a lot of us are curious to know what the cosmic energy is going to be on that day, on Wednesday, the 14th. And so be aware that Mars does rule over our passions, our drives, our energy, especially our physical and sexual energy. And so be conscious of this, that Mars in Aquarius is really bringing the energy up north to our crown chakra, to our mind. And in this case, we're really thinking about what is attractive to us, we're thinking about what brings us desire and passion. And it's a lot more to do with the intellectual, the logical side of things versus the more emotional or primal. Yes, Mars is a much more primal energy, but being in this lofty air sign of Aquarius, it's sort of taking on a new form. Now, Mars will conjoin with Pluto the day that it enters Aquarius. As we know, Pluto is in Aquarius. This is something we've discussed a lot, but Pluto being in Aquarius is a heavy energy when it comes to the deeper side of Aquarian energy. And Mars is, of course, a much more friction, tense energy. There's a lot of battle that can happen with Mars. And so Mars and Pluto together, Pluto being this planet of intensity and these inner workings, this planet that wants to drudge up things and uproot things. And so being aware that a lot of our drives, a lot of our desires, a lot of our goals, we're going to have a very honest look at them when Mars enters Aquarius, especially this week, this first week, as Mars is moving right past Pluto. When this happens, it's going to uproot a lot of our fears around our goals, a lot of our collective fears around maybe taking action, especially in an Aquarian way. Keeping in mind, Aquarius is the sign of futuristic technology and digital innovation. This can even look like, cyber wars and concerns surrounding social media and maybe even social media bullying, cyberbullying. Mars is again a much more aggressive energy, but it's entering into the sign that deals with that more online space. And so be aware that while Mars is in Aquarius, we cannot be keyboard warriors. We don't want to be those trolls, those haters. We still want to think about our words and our actions and how we express them in a way that's a bit more receivable, as Mars can oftentimes be a bit more abrupt and brash in its delivery. So that's one thing to take note of. Again, on a personal level, be aware of where you have Aquarius in your chart. This can be an area where you feel more fired up, more driven to take charge. And again, Pluto deals with power struggles, control issues. So we might have to come to grips with some situations that force us to assert our power or maybe realize power issues and dynamics in maybe even in partnership. More on that to come as we dive into Venus later on. But a lot can come unearthed through this connection between both Mars and Pluto. So that's really important. During the course of the time that Mars is in Aquarius, this is the freedom fighter, right? Mars is the god of war, and Aquarius is the sign known for not just intellect but also freedom and revolution and wanting to change the status quo and wanting to reform humanity. And so while Mars is in Aquarius, we are looking to fight for a good cause. There might be more of a push for social advocacy, human rights, fighting for those who are less represented, looking to unite the masses. As again, this is the sign of the collective. Aquarius is pouring out the water for all. We all need water to live. Aquarius knows this truth to be true, and therefore it's the one to usher in this degree of consciousness that all of us are receiving. And so this is an amazing time to really look at what social causes fire you up, what drives you to take action for the greater good of humanity. That's really what Mars and Aquarius is bringing us, and it will be in effect for a while, for the next couple of weeks, going into end of March. So this is really a great opportunity to fight for that which matters to you. Also, again, looking at where you have Aquarius, knowing where this more driven, motivated, maybe again more fighter energy is showing up. For better or worse, this can be excellent, but it's also something to be aware of, as we can also get aggressive in this area of life. So let's dive into 3 ways that you can work with the energy of Mars being in Aquarius. The first thing I recommend is to know your why. The why is the driving force behind all that you do. Mars represents our driving force. Mars represents the action, the things that we do that bring us that feeling of passion and excitement. Now, knowing your why is essential. A lot of us already know this, but while Mars is in Aquarius, that is really what's taking up a huge focus for us. If we're looking to take action, if we're creating a blueprint for a plan, if we have some sort of strategy or game plan, set in place, the first thing we need to really consider, and I would say and argue the majority of what we need to consider, is the why, the driving force behind what we're doing. So, again, knowing this is going to make those goals come into fruition even easier, even better, and maybe even on a bit of a higher level than they would have been, which is, again, what Aquarius represents. Aquarius is the water bearer, which is similar to the clouds in the sky, right? They kind of hang out above the rest. And so, with this energy, with this Mars energy in Aquarius, we're looking to get even beyond what we thought was possible. Aquarius is the sign of hopes and dreams. And so, how big can I dream? How far can I go? And where can I really push the envelope and do things differently? What is my why behind that? Why do I want to push the envelope? Why do I want to challenge the status quo? Why do I want to go against the grain? Ask yourself these questions, and specifically ask yourself these questions in regards to your chart. Knowing where you have Aquarius, let's say it's in your house of children. Maybe you're a different type of parent than the rest. Why do you want to be different? Maybe, it's in your house of career. Why do you want to work in a field that's innovative and different? And what is the real motivating reason behind that? Again, Aquarius is the sign of reason, it's intellect, it's thought. It's an air sign. And it's a fixed air sign. So we can think about this for a while because we can really get stuck and fixated on the reason behind what we do. So, being that Mars is what we do, really knowing the reason is going to drive those goals and those dreams and ideals even further than they could have before. The second way to work with Mars being in Aquarius is to prioritize goals involving your own personal freedom. When Mars was in Capricorn, yeah, we were laying the groundwork. We were getting the foundations, the basics underneath our belt. That's what Capricorn's here for, being the first earth sign. So Mars in Capricorn was great for that. But with Mars being in Aquarius now, we want to think beyond. We want to expand that box and look at things in a different frame. And one of the key principles to Aquarius that Aquarius really values above all else is personal freedom. And so our goals need to embody this degree of personal freedom. Now, this can be a bit of a paradox, as Aquarius, the sign itself, is a bit of a paradox, because at the same time, while Aquarius is very open and free thinking, it is a fixed air sign, which means that we can get quite opinionated and we can get very fixed in our beliefs. And so, with that being said, be aware that you don't allow your beliefs to stop you from innovating your goals. It's easy to get stuck and caught in that trap of going with the way things have always been, or because that's simply what you believe. Now, there's a lot of truth behind that, which, again, as Aquarius placements, we know truth is important above all else. But at the same time, being open minded is just as vital. And so, being conscious that your goals aren't stopping your expansion, your freedom, your ability to chase that greater truth. This is really, really, really important. And also, we are here to really step outside of what's been done with Mars and Aquarius. And so, prioritize goals that you feel are allowing you to break the chains of whatever's been holding you back. This is the sign that's the revolutionary. And so look to where Aquarius is hanging out in your chart. Maybe see where whatever planets are there. And of course, message me if you're not sure and we can chat about your chart in depth. But knowing this, knowing where it is in your life that you're going to seek greater freedom, greater liberation, and again, potentially innovation. Don't be afraid to set unique goals. Don't be afraid to set goals that are different from everyone else's. If you want to go and accomplish something that nobody's ever done before, this is the time to set that goal into place. Think about it. Think about what really matters to you, why it matters to you, going back to number one. And then know that it's okay to expand and maybe redo things in a unique and maybe innovative way. Aquarius is a very inventive sign. So get creative here. Look into ways that you can do things differently. And at the same time, make sure that that difference is allowing you to expand and explore what matters to you, the truth, as well as your own personal freedom. That's going to give us the most alignment during this time when Mars is in Aquarius. And number three is to take action on the greater collective. Look for the greater cause in whatever it is that you're doing. Understand that Aquarius cares about society on a group level. Aquarius is a paradoxical sign because while it wants to save the world, it doesn't necessarily want to be a part of it. And so there can be a degree of wanting to work on things for the betterment of society from a distance, which is okay in this case, right? Maybe you're looking to reinvent something when it comes to your online presence. Maybe you're looking to be a little bit more innovative when it comes to something in the tech industry. Again, Mars and Aquarius is looking at how we can better things, looking at not just how we can better things for ourselves, but everybody. So, plain and simple, don't be selfish while Mars is in Aquarius. We don't want to be selfish when we're in a sign that's there for the greater good. Again, this goes back to maybe fighting for social rights, human rights, advocacy, activism. This is what Mars in Aquarius embodies. This is the freedom fighter, the one at the front walking, marching for justice. This is what Mars in Aquarius lives for. It is the sign of equality and justness and fairness, similar to Libra, another fellow air sign, although different because, again, Aquarius is that much more collective, expansive. We're looking at, the global effect on something and how everybody is getting influenced by this thing. And I would definitely pay attention to any technological advancements during the time when Mars is in Aquarius, which will be, by the way, until March 22nd, right after that spring equinox. So be prepared. I know we've already seen some major tech advancements get released as of honestly just this past week. The Apple Vision Pro just got released. I actually just found out about a couple other things that are going to like pretty much replace certain everyday electronics like, phones, laptops, televisions. Really interesting how Pluto in Aquarius has already taken effect on a societal level. And yes, of course, this will more than likely bring up some fears around how this is going to play out. But while Mars is in Aquarius, know that for this period of time, we're really looking at the expanded perspective, how everybody can benefit. On a personal level, be aware that the goals you set aren't just for yourself, but for everybody. Think about how everyone's going to benefit, what the ramifications are if you take action on a particular thing. If that blueprint that you set out during Capricorn season is going to be effective and helpful and beneficial for everybody, not just yourself, not just for you to reach your goal and to get to that level of esteem and ambition, but also is what I'm doing helping everybody? And this is really the lesson where Mars in Aquarius that can really be taught to us. And so again, this energy will be in effect for the next like 5, 6 weeks. So take your time to really set these goals into action and think about them in depth, as I'm sure a lot of us will while Mars is in Aquarius. Moving into the second cosmic event of this week, we are fast forwarding to Friday, February 16th, when Venus enters into Aquarius as well. So Venus is joining the party. And just so we are aware, at this point in time, we will have a buildup of planets of in Aquarius. We will have Venus, Mercury, Mars, the Sun. We have a lot of Aquarian energy taking place in our sky. Again, knowing where you have Aquarius is essential because now you know what's getting activated in your life. It's just easier to be able to use this information. Now, Venus is the planet that represents that which we value. Easy way to remember it. So, Venus is all about love, money, relationships, art, beauty, and aesthetic. Venus is definitely a much softer, more elegant, more attractive energy than Mars. But of course, there's that classic Mars Venus, paradox that what's the word? I don't know. Polarity. There it is. That polarity between Mars and Venus. Now, Venus being an Aquarius happens just a couple days after Valentine's Day. So, keeping in mind that during the day of love, so to speak, Venus will still be in Capricorn, a sign much more focused on ideals and material security. And yes, we might get some good gifts, but we might not also get the romance. Venus in Aquarius, or sorry, in Capricorn. Venus in Capricorn's not very romantic versus Venus in Aquarius, also not very romantic, but just in a different way. Again, petition to reschedule Valentine's Day. Who's in? Me. Just because, again, it doesn't really align with the energy of our cosmos. Now, Venus being in Aquarius, Aquarius, again, is that sign of not just partnership, but friendship and intellect and social connection on a group level. And so when Venus is in Aquarius, we're actually much more tapped into our friendships, the more platonic side of things. This doesn't take into effect until Friday, a couple days after Valentine's Day. But this is also a great opportunity, as I know a lot of people, whether you be single or not, a lot of people like to celebrate this time with their friends as well. Especially, I know a lot of women. I see a lot of Galentines and single, events, things like that. This is all really good and aligned for Venus being in Aquarius. Venus is again that more feminine energy, so connecting with women, especially in your social circle, probably will be very beneficial. Other things about Venus being in Aquarius is that our relationships take on a much more intellectual approach. Suddenly, smart becomes sexy. all of a sudden we care less about the physical, the practical. We care more about the intellectual. When Venus was in Capricorn, we cared about what the person had. Now that Venus enters Aquarius, we care about what they think like. We care about their mindset. And so this is a great time towards the end, pretty much the second half of February and beyond, to really start picking your partner's brain, to start having deeper conversations with your friends. In fact, during this time, it's likely that, friends can even transition into being lovers because Venus does want to cultivate relationships. Venus is that planet of magnetic attraction. It is connecting people together. But in Aquarius, again, we're doing so on a much more intellectual note, much more mentally stimulating. And that's what's really going to get us going. It's not so much the physical, it's not so much the material, it really is the mental. Now, on top of this, we want to take into special note that during the time of Venus being in Aquarius, personal freedom in relationships becomes essential. You might find that during this time, you suddenly want to go on a solo trip, maybe get some space from your partner. Maybe during this time, you're looking at setting more boundaries around, you being able to pursue your interests while they pursue theirs. And this is just one example. This can also be the same in friendships, even in relationships at work or with your children. You might realize that you yourself have this desire for freedom, for not being constrained in any type of way. And so, Venus being in Aquarius, we're going to make sure that that becomes top priority in our relationships. Now, again, same thing as when Mars and Mercury and the Sun and every other planet enters into Aquarius for this year and the next 20 years to come, they will, in this case, move past Pluto at some point in time. Right now, when Venus enters into Aquarius on Friday the 16th, it will move right on top of Pluto. Now, Pluto, again, we've talked about Pluto. I'm not going to dive too deep onto what it really means, besides the fact that, of course, Pluto is the planet of power, control, and again, a lot more of that deep seated things that need to come to the surface to be transformed. Now, with Venus moving across Pluto, this means that a lot of our relationship with other people, with ourself, with our money, anything that's of value, we're going to have to face maybe the deeper truths behind our relationships. We might find that issues of power, control, power dynamics come up and we have to face them. They might make us feel afraid. They might make us feel a little bit more vulnerable, but that's what's going to happen. And that's what's necessary to happen to transform whatever that component of the particular relationship is and make it something better. Make it something that's better for for not just yourself, but everybody involved. And again, this can look like the relationship with your partner, with your romantic partner, with your friends, with your family. This can again be the relationship with yourself and also the relationship with things that you value, namely money. And so maybe even reevaluating the relationship there, we might find that issues of control come up. Who's controlling me in my own relationships with either myself or those I love or my belongings? How has that maybe transformed or changed and what's working and what's not? So don't be surprised if during the time that, Venus enters into Aquarius, particularly the whole weekend after the 16th, it might feel quite intense. There might be a real intensity in our relationships. It might cause us to have deeper conversations, longer conversations. This is fixed air we're talking about. These conversations can go on for a long time. And so be prepared for deeper truths to be revealed. Be prepared for deeper dynamics that maybe never really reached the light of day. All of a sudden they are. And we have to look at them for what they are. Again, this is the truth seeker here. We cannot shy away from that which is true and real and authentic. And that's really the beauty, but also maybe something that we can prepare ourselves for while we see Venus moving across Pluto. Now, again, overall, Venus being in Aquarius, not just, connected with Pluto there for the, beginning of the time, but once Venus moves away from Pluto and it sticks in Aquarius for the upcoming weeks, we will see a lot more cultivation around Aquarian themes related to art and beauty. And this can even look like AI and avatars starting to come about. This is something that we're seeing more and more in our society. And with Venus, the planet of aesthetic and image, moving through the sign of futuristic technology, this could very well be, more advancements when it comes to the avatar space. I know a lot of us, we have some avatars created on certain social media platforms that might become more streamlined, more revolutionary in a sense. This can also look like more deceit, especially with Pluto's involvement, some deceit around image. Nowadays we have filters, we have, editing, we have Photoshop. We can do so much with the images we have in our phone, in our online space, that sometimes that truth seeker has to do a little bit more digging, because sometimes the truth is not as face value as we would like it to be. And Pluto will reveal that. Pluto will drudge up the real truth, the truth that nobody wants to really own and look at. Hey, you might look pretty in that video, but let's be real. The truth is that's not how you look. And all of us are probably guilty of it in some way, shape, or form. But this is where the theme of Venus being in Aquarius, and especially hanging out near Pluto, this is the theme that's going to come to light more and more. On a personal note in your chart, being aware of how this might show up for you. Again, this varies for every single person. If you're an Aquarius rising, Venus being an Aquarius is great. It's going to make you feel more photogenic, more ready to get in front of the camera. But again, being conscious of how much we're adapting, so to speak, those images, as we can get very tech savvy while we have this Aquarius energy present. So let's look at 3 ways that you can work with Venus being in Aquarius. Number one is to really value the socializing aspect of your friendships. Really value those friendships that make you think deeper. Look at the intellectual and the mental connection you have with the people in your life. This is an excellent time for socializing. While Venus, the planet of connection and partnership, is in the sign of Aquarius, the sign of friendship, this is an excellent time to even start new friendships. We just had a new moon in Aquarius. We just began a new lunar cycle. We'll be 1 week into that lunar cycle by the time Venus enters Aquarius. And so, taking action on those intentions that were set, this is the perfect time to do so, especially if we even look at how it aligns with the current phase of the moon at that time. And so, great opportunities here to look at the more, again, friendship side of things, whether that be in your romantic relationship or otherwise. Friendship can show up in all different shapes and forms. This might be with the friendship you share with your colleagues or your family members or your children, or the friendship you have with yourself. There's so many different ways that this can show up, and it will be different for everybody. But getting out there, connecting with new groups of people, networking, socializing, this is a really good time to do so. Mars will be in Aquarius as well. And actually, spoiler alert, both Mars and Venus will hang out together. They will become what's known as conjunctor together in the sign of Aquarius the following week. So we really have a Mars Venus connection happening. And so this is great for taking action on social goals. This is great for a little bit more drive and determination when it comes to getting out there and meeting people. Now, again, we might feel that sense of wanting to stay a little bit still detached. This is why the mental side of things is great. We're not really tapping into the emotional side. The new moon is over, moon is out of Aquarius, and Aquarius is not an emotional sign. Venus in Aquarius, those of us that even have Venus in Aquarius, myself included, it's not emotional. It's logical. It's fun. It's helpful. It's charitable. It's there to make sure that everybody has what they need, but it's not necessarily emotional. And so being aware that we don't have to go deep in this time when Venus is in Aquarius. We can really stay on that mental frame of thinking. And this is really good for just beginning friendships, or even just tapping into hey, what do we actually have in common? Let's talk about some things. Let's pick each other's brain. This is really the benefit of having Venus being in Aquarius. Number two is to assert your individuality. This goes for partnerships, friendships, romantic relationships. Know who you are. Aquarius is the quirky sign. Aquarius is the one that steps outside of the box. And this means that Aquarius knows it's different and is okay with being different. If you have a lot of Aquarius placements in your chart, there's probably been times in your life where you felt different from the rest. And in many ways, this is acceptable. This is okay. This almost feels more in alignment than going with the standard, because Aquarius is not standard in any way, shape, or form. Aquarius is unique and quirky and individual. And all of us have Aquarius in our chart. All of us have those quirky tendencies. All of us have weird things about us that make us who we are. And this is the opportunity to share that with the people in our life. This is the chance to say, hey, I'm me. I'm weird in this way. I'm interested in things that might be a little different. I like things that maybe are a little bit off the beaten path, but this is who I am. Assert your individuality. This is fixed air. We are standing firm in how we feel in a fixed space. And so, asserting your beliefs, asserting your opinions, this is very Aquarian. But knowing that it's maybe a little different from what everyone else thinks. And this might be tricky, especially in partnership. This might be tricky in friendships where things have always been the same way. You've always thought the same way. All of a sudden, Venus being an Aquarius, we're realizing like I need to be true. There's that truth seeker again. I need to be true to who I am in this partnership. Right? This can go for the one with your colleagues, your boss, your friends, your family, even yourself. Being true to who you are is the name of the game, and appreciating the things that make you different, your unique qualities, whether that be internal qualities or external qualities. Venus is the planet of self love. Learn to appreciate the things about yourself, your body, your appearance that are a little different. No, none of us are perfect. And that's the one thing with Aquarius is Aquarius dislikes labels. Aquarius dislikes stereotypes. Every single person is a human being in the eyes of a true Aquarian. And so looking at yourself in a less judgmental light and loving the quote unquote flaws, loving the things that are different and unique. This is what Aquarius stands for. So stand for it when it comes to the relationship you have with yourself, with your friends, with the things that you value in your life. Be different, be unique, and know that that's okay. And it's actually encouraged during this time. And number three, going in the same fashion of being unique and being individual, is seek ways to innovate your relationships. And I'm talking all relationships, the one you have with yourself, the one you have with your family, your children, your spouse, your friends, the relationship you have with your finances. This is the opportunity, especially with so many planets in Aquarius. This means that all of these personal planets that rule over different elements of our psyche, whether that be our mind, our heart, our gut, our drive, all of these planets are hanging out in Aquarius. And like I said before, Aquarius does not like to be the same. Aquarius does not like to be traditional. And so seek ways to be innovative in all that you do, especially in whatever area of life you have Aquarius. Be different, be innovative, invent new ways of showing up to the same situation, right? Insanity is known as doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. The name of the game is to not be insane. And that is why when Mars and Venus and Mercury and the Sun are all in Aquarius, we want to innovate in all shapes and forms. Knowing that this innovation will be for the betterment of everybody is truly the cherry on top, but it starts with looking at ways that we can just simply change what's already being done. We don't want to stick to the way things have always been. We don't want to get fixated on what's worked. We want to look at how it can work even better. Yes, this is reinventing the wheel. Yes, this is seeking how I can change up the status quo, not be so standard. And so look to innovate how you handle your finances. Look to innovate how you handle your relationships. Look to innovate the goals that you set, who you are, and how you show up in this area of your life. This is crucial to working with the Aquarius energy. If we stay the same, if we emerge out of Aquarius season being the same individual we were, then did we really do the work? And know that Aquarius season, when it comes to the sun, is ending on the 18th of February. But that does not mean we will not still have Aquarius being activated, being the fact that we have three other planets still in Aquarius. So pay attention to Aquarius energy in your life. Know that even though the sun next week will move into Pisces, and yes, I will be doing the All About Pisces talk next week, that doesn't disregard the Aquarius energy that's being so activated and so potent in our life right now. So take action on the greater good. Know that relationships are all about friendship and mental connection and stimulation on that respect. And seek ways to be different, you guys. Seek ways to be innovative, inventive, and just change things up. Have fun. We don't want to get bored during Aquarius season. That is the worst thing ever. So have a little bit of fun. And with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in. If this video gave you value, please go ahead, hit the like button. And of course, if you would like to share more about your experience with Aquarius, maybe you have a lot of Aquarius placements and you can tell me a thing or two, go ahead and comment. I would love to hear what you have to say, and of course, I will respond back. Again, thank you all so much for consistently tuning in. If you are interested in Aquarius birth chart reading or solar return chart reading, hit the link below. Make sure that you stay up to date with your chart and understanding what it is that I'm sharing in these forecasts and how this information can be applied to your life. So with that being said, have an amazing week. I appreciate y'all so much, and I will see you all again next Sunday.